Welcome to Politex, yep, spelled P-O-L-I-T-E-X. Politex is a bipartisan roundup of the latest in politics across Houston and Texas. So let's just get right into it. The Houston Police Union confirms a new 2-year contract with the City of Houston. Officers will receive a 7% raise over 2 years, according to documents sent to Channel 26 Fox News. Thanks, guys, for working that out. We really appreciate the resolution. Beto O'Rourke has been closing the gap over the last several months in the Senate race. However, this is the first time that we've been able to report that O'Rourke is leading. So KVUE reported on Twitter that Beto O'Rourke leads Ted Cruz by 3 points in the U.S. Senate race. You can see their poll on KVUE's website. Now, Representative Will Hurd leads Gina Ortiz-Jones in a race for a key Texas swing district per the Dallas News. So head on over to dallasnews.com to check out that story. Now, in some weird Texas news, we usually get weird around issues with education for some reason here in Texas. Don't know why, can't explain it. But the Texas board voted to cut Hillary Clinton and Helen Keller from the history courses. But they kept Moses because of his influence on U.S. founding documentation. You can check out that news story under Huffington Post. Now, if you're looking for more news and we can provide you on politics on Texas candidates, you can head over and subscribe and receive detailed reports on Texas politics from texascandidates.com. You can also receive weekly fundraiser information as well too. Just click on the fundraiser pages on texascandidates.com. Are you registered to vote? We're less than 50 days away from the Texas midterms, y'all. Texas politicians have outlined their political beliefs for months, some of them all year round, trying to convince Texans to vote for them on November 6th in the midterms. Now it's almost time to cast the ballots in the critical midterm elections. State officials are asking voters to make sure they're registered to vote. The deadline to register to vote is October 9th. Are you registered to vote? If not, get over to vote.org or go to votetexas.gov. Voting is your superpower. Texans weigh in on a host of races. There are actually 18 that are critical and most watched. And Texas is making history right now with 18 African American women on the ballots. We'll have some clips of the different voter outreaches later on in the show, from the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce monthly luncheon at the Buffalo Soldiers Museum and the Delta Sigma Theta Wheeler Baptist Church Meet the Candidates Forum with the Houston Area Urban League Young Professionals. Who knew? Who knew that American legend Willie Nelson was a liberal? Willie Nelson was trending this week in Texas politics for leading his support and lending it to Beto O'Rourke's campaign. It's his first time headlining a rally for a Democratic Senate candidate. Angry fans attacked Willie Nelson all over his social media about his fans, even challenged their fandom because they really didn't know Willie's politics. Willie's fans are furious that he's stomping for Beto, and most fans are seeing a different side of Willie. Well, he's blue and he's progressive. If the weed and the long hair didn't give you a dead giveaway, I don't know what else would have. Now, let's catch a clip from Councilmember Amanda Edwards at large position 4. When she says at large, she means it. She's for the whole city of Houston. Yes, responsible for all of Houston. And you can read her amazing bio and resume at houstontext.gov, Houston at large position 4. So follow her on Twitter and on Facebook. Now let's listen into this clip here.
Position A relates to Rebuild Houston, and that is the opportunity for us not to necessarily add a fee, but use the fee that's currently being collected and make sure that it's used for what we call the Rebuild Houston program, which is streets and drainage. This program was passed by the voters back in 2010, but due to court rulings had to be brought back to the voters because of the language that was used initially on the ballot. A lot of people ask the question, if I vote yes, does that mean I'm getting a new fee or an additional fee? The answer is no. A lot of people ask the question, if I vote no, does that mean there won't be a fee? The answer is no. There will continue to be a fee because the city council has already approved the collection of the fee. This vote is about what we use this fee for. I believe that we need to make sure that we're making sure that we have safeguards in place so that we can make sure our drainage system works properly. We have many years that we haven't been, or many years of delayed or deferred maintenance, and so that's been a challenge as well.
It's remarkable to see how many millions of dollars have already been spent around the city under Rebuild Houston. That was a powerful presentation. Like you said, replacing cement, replacing barriers, digging ditches, and the coordination that they're having with the bond fund. I was really impressed with that presentation, so I'm glad that you highlighted that. Yes. It was also important for us to hear while we were there, too, that the impact that voting on Prop B, one way or the other, would have on the citizens of Houston, and not understanding how much a 25% increase would have a negative impact. And they highlighted that in that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, the item that will be on the November 6th ballot is certainly something of concern for a lot of reasons with regard to the finances of the city. And so I think I wasn't present yesterday, but I'm pretty sure that was what was highlighted, was the cost or the dollar amount that would be required in order to make the compensation increases.
What resources are you giving to the constituents in your area to show them where they can go to get accurate resources, or even how to register to vote?
Right now, in terms of people getting registered, there's actually here at this table, here at the chamber, there is actually a table. Tanisha is located to the left, and she's got her table set up. But voter registration is certainly something that people need to be doing. I think what is oftentimes confusing is when municipal elections happen. Our elections are in odd years, but this ballot proposition, which is a municipal ballot proposition, these two are actually in an even year. So it is not necessarily easy to follow those dates and times, so we ask people to just continue to look that up online and make sure they're staying abreast. And of course, if they have any questions, make sure that they're doing the research necessary to get the questions answered.
Congratulations, Ms. Edwards, for being among the 10 finalists for Route 50 Navigator Awards for driving courage in your community. Next up, we'll catch a few sound bites from the 2018 Candidates Forum held by the Houston Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, along with the Houston Area Urban League Young Professionals, held at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church on Saturday, September 15th. Let's listen in now.
Bringing opportunity, not protecting the Wall Street banking interests, as the current congressman has continued to do. So my name is Keisha Rogers. I am on the ballot. You will find my name as an independent. I am the last name on the ballot, but as they say, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And I will be first.
Houston Endowment provided some of the funds. When I came in 2007, it wasn't a very good system.
That's a great clip. We'll be back after a few brief moments, and we'll have a little clip running about voter resources. Each episode and weekly, we highlight and post reliable resources for information to prep you before you head off to vote this November. mytexasvote.com. Texas isn't a red state, it's a non-voting state. On average, like we said before, 30% of registered voters vote. Only 48% of eligible voters between 18 and 24 are registered to vote, and Texas is 47th in voter turnout. Only 23% of Texans regularly discuss politics, according to some of the latest polls. We've got to change that, folks. We need to put Texans at the top. You can request a mail-in ballot if you are 65, older, disabled, out of the country on election day, or during the early voting period, or confined in jail but otherwise eligible. There are options. Use them. Voting is your superpower. Everything you need to know to vote can be found on www.vote.org. Go into November registered, educated, and ready to vote. It takes less than 2 minutes to register on vote.org. You can use vote.org to find out if you're registered to vote. You can also find out how to get an absentee ballot. If you can't vote in person on election day, use an absentee ballot. You can find out where to go on election day. Use vote.org to find your polling place, and so you don't get frustrated driving around in the loop. Be prepared. You can also sign up for election reminders so you never miss an election again. You'll receive timely election reminders from vote.org, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Again, we're going to remind you about resources. Again, votetexas.gov. You have voter rights, Texans. Repeat, yes, you have rights. If you're a registered voter in Texas, you have the right to a ballot with written instructions on how to cast the ballot. Ask the polling place for officials' instructions on how to cast the ballot, but not on how to vote. You can cast your ballot in secret and free from intimidation. That's your right. You can receive up to 2 more ballots if you make a mistake while marking the ballot. Again, you're right. You have a right to bring an interpreter to assist you to qualify if you don't understand the English language. You can get help to cast your vote if you cannot see the ballot or write in the language in which it is written. And you have the right to report a possible voting rights abuse to the Secretary of State by calling 800-252-8683 or your local election official. And you have the right to cast a provisional ballot if your name does not appear on the list of registered voters. But be sure to start using resources to get on the registry and stay on the registry. You also have the right to file an administrative complaint with the Secretary of State concerning violations of federal and state voting procedures. Go to votetexas.gov for your rights. Texans, you have rights. Know them when you're headed to the polls. We'll be back after this brief moment to talk about more voting resources as we do every week. Welcome back. We're also super excited to share that the Policy and Politics and Donor Summit will be held November 10th in 2018, talking about Black women in politics with Black Women's Pact on Twitter. The Black Women's Pact is committed to empowering Black women as political donors in support of electing more Black women in public office and helping political infrastructure. If you're in Austin in November, you may want to attend this event. Just a reminder, there are new apps on politics every day, and one actually tracks money and votes in Texas politics. Texas Influence tracks Texas lawmakers and how they voted in 2016 in the legislative session and how much money was given to Texas lawmakers. Just tap the donor tab on the app and you can find out where the money's going. For example, Texas Association of Realtors was the largest donator in the last election cycle, giving more than $9.3 million. There are ways you can find out this information on your own without an app, but the purpose of an app is to make everything easy. Otherwise, you just have to spend a bunch of time going through the Texas Ethics Commission and finding the codes and trying to figure out all the complicated information on that. So why not just use the app and then you can find the information much easier. You guys, the countdown. Let's reinforce the fact that the countdown has begun. November 6th, you guys. There's just a few days left to register to vote. The deadline is October 9th to register to vote in the state of Texas. Early voting begins October 22nd, and the election day is November 6th. Can't reiterate these dates enough. October 9th for registration. Our state and our country need you. Get out and vote. In an effort to recruit Election Day poll workers, including bilingual English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese speakers for the upcoming November 6th general and special elections, the Harris County Clerk's Elections Division is once again launching the Step Up to Serve campaign on their Twitter and Facebook social media sites. Poll workers are the backbone of Harris County elections. Working at a polling location during an election is a unique opportunity for citizens to step up and serve their neighbors. And it's a paid position as a poll worker. Learn about the voting process as well. From September 4th through September 29th, the hashtag Step Up to Serve social media campaign will target high school students, civic-minded professionals, and retirees with the goal of recruiting 350 new Election Day poll workers. For more information, please contact the Harris County Clerk's Elections Division at www.harrisvotes.com and on Twitter at harrisvotes or on Facebook, the Harris County Elections Commission. PolitiFact Texas is a nonpartisan politics fact-checking project of the Austin American-Statesman, Houston Chronicle, San Antonio Express, and it can be found at politifact.com. They regularly fact-check political ads for the truth. It'll help you figure out if an ad is false or true. Be sure to use this resource so you can get accurate information before heading off to the polls November 6th. And before you go November 6th, make sure that you are registered to vote by October 9th. Now, in closing, to our Jewish viewers, we wish you a peaceful Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a Jewish Day of Atonement and is marked by a day's worth of fasting and synagogue services. It's a day of reflection on the good and the bad. Today, many will be asking themselves, how have we been wronged? How can we do better? And they will apologize for their wrongdoings and tell those they love how they will improve for the year. For those fasting, we wish you an easy and blessed fast during this Yom Kippur. Check out Vox.com for 6 things you need to know to understand the Jewish High Holy Holiday if you're not familiar with Jewish High Holy Holidays. We also want to thank our sponsors and show underwriters. Contact us for an opportunity to be a sponsor or an underwriter. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Send us your pitches, which are show ideas, to myvineyardtv 15.8@gmail.com. We love to hear from our viewers. Thank you for tuning in to KV TV Today. Email us if you have any questions or if you have information that you want to share to our community about voter outreach. Texas, you always have a choice and rights. Always. Get ready to vote. Stay in the know. Do your research. Vote your voice and voice your vote. It matters. Red or blue, do you. See you next week on Politex, Houston's only bipartisan political talk show. I'm your host, Daniela Flanagan.